So since I was little, I always loved stop motion. For example, The Nightmare Before Christmas, one of my favorite movies, and also Coraline. And Coraline was the first movie from Studio Laika, with the same director as The Nightmare Before Christmas, Henry Silk. And yeah, it was a really good movie. And afterwards, like I made Paranorman, which I also really liked, a little bit less than Coraline, but still a really good movie, and Box Trolls, which didn't really work for me. And yeah, now Kubo is released, of Kubo. And I really wanted to see this on the big screen because from the trailers, it looked so cool and it was so good looking. And after seeing this on the big screen, on a giant screen, yeah, this is really, really good. From the animation standpoint, it's very fluid. Most of the time I couldn't even see if it was stop motion or CGI. That's how fluid it was. The action looked really cool, the lighting, everything. As I said, sometimes I couldn't see if it was CGI or stop motion. On one hand, that speaks on how good stop motion is. On the other hand, it also means that there is, at least I think there is, a lot of CGI still in this movie, and that took away from me a little bit of the style of the movie. But I do like this a lot more than example from other studios like Aardman. I do like the Aardman movies as well, but for me, the art style of these movies from Laika and the puppets, they are a lot more detailed and a lot more sharp around the edges. Not what Aardman is famous for, the claymation style. So that will just be a personal preference. But for me, this is one of the best. No, it's the best stop motion movie that I can think of, just on how it looks. There were even some scenes where I just said, oh, when I saw it on the cinema. I didn't even know I said that. I heard that afterwards from some of my friends. So yeah, really liked how it looked. So now we come to the story. I won't spoil anything, so it will be a very brief synopsis. Yeah, you have the little child Kubo who lost an eye, and he plays in the town each day with his guitar, and he brings paper to life with origami style, and they fight, and he tells a story with it. And you saw that in the trailer if you have seen the trailer. But he must get home before it gets dark each day. Otherwise his family can hunt him down. Why they try to hunt him down, you have to see the movie for that. But yeah, one day he doesn't come home, so his family finds him and tries to get his other eye. Again, you have to see the story. You have to see the movie to know why. I won't spoil it. But that's basically the whole story of the movie. It's a very simple story. And I've seen a lot of people really like it. For me, it didn't work quite well. And that's because a couple of things. First off, you really have to go with the movie. There are a lot of things that aren't explained at all, or aren't explained very well. And that brings with it that there are a lot of plot holes in this movie. One thing is what happens with the father of Kubo. You find out later on what happened to his father, but you don't find out how it came to that situation. And what exactly happened that made the situation what it is with the father later on in the movie. You just have to go with it. Also, the story is very predictable. For example, what happened to his parents, especially the father. Afterwards, the mother, she is still in the beginning of the movie. It was very, very predictable. With the first second that they showed a hint to what was really happening, I immediately thought, oh, this is the way they will go. And exactly that's the way they went. So for me, the story wasn't that great, because I think they should have resolved a lot more plot holes. Also, the pacing is a little bit off. For example, I said that he plays for a couple of days in the town with the paper and his guitar. And then on one day, his mother said, oh, you should always be home before it gets dark. Otherwise, your family will hunt you down and they will find you. And immediately the day after, he stays out in the dark. That's just stupid, and I don't think that's something that Kubo would do if you look at the rest of the movie. Also, there's one other thing. When they try to search for a helmet, he finds out in a dream where the helmet is, and they all go to that location. But yeah, that dream and how Kubo reacts, if you see the movie, if you know a little bit how smart Kubo is, that isn't what Kubo would do. So again, I thought that was just to a script to get the story a little bit further, but not realistic and very illogical. So yeah, with the scripts, I have a few problems with it. And then we come to the ending. For me, I expected a lot more from it. I expected a lot bigger fight, first off, if you see what happened for fight scenes in the rest of the movie. But also, I think they choose the easy ending, the easy way out. And with the people I went with, they also said that the ending was really disappointing and that they should have gone another direction. And also, there is happening a thing there that is very illogical and just weird overall. And yeah, for the music, it's above average, but nothing special. Not much to be said about the music, because there aren't a lot of themes, recurring themes in the movie. So yeah, it's done its job, but that's it. Overall, this movie has a very middle of the road story, but it is still entertaining, very much entertaining, and it has a great art style. So I give this movie an 8 out of 10. There are still some points I want to talk about, but they don't really influence the story. They don't really influence my score. It's just some things to consider when you go to this movie. First off, why I didn't really like the story as well in this movie is because it lays its morals on very thick. And sometimes I find it laying on the morals too thick. And that makes the conversations in the movie very unnatural. People won't speak like that. And for me, that always really bugs me. That's also why I can't come into Pixar movies, because they lay their morals on really thick. The only one that I like is The Incredibles, and that one still isn't the best movie for me. I like it, but that's it. I don't love it. And for me, that's why DreamWorks stories work better. They try to deliver a fun and entertaining movie first, with sometimes really cool fight scenes or stuff like that. And just an all-around really entertaining movie, and the morals are there, but not the whole movie is surrounding those morals. So yeah, if you like Pixar, then I think you really like this story as well. If you don't like Pixar movies, I think you will have problems with this movie as well. So the second thing I want to talk about is seeing this movie with little children. As you may know from other reviews, people say that this isn't really a movie for little children because they may get scared because there are some scary scenes. I think there is a really good way to try and find out if your children can see this movie. If they have seen Coraline and didn't find it scary, you're free to go to this movie, because me and my friends agree that this movie is scarier than Kubo, especially the later half of this movie. Also, the monsters, you can all see them in the trailer, so you can make up your mind if your children don't get scared of seeing those monsters. And for me, I would have hoped that the movie was a little bit more scary because, for example, with the sisters, the voice effects weren't that scary. I think they could have added a lot more scarier voice effects to really make it spooky. So for me that was a missed opportunity, but still for me, seeing that this is also for children around 8 to 10 years old, I know why they haven't gone full horror with this. Maybe they can do that with later movies, because like I said, that this will be the last movie with children and having the lead part. So yeah, maybe they can go a little bit with horror. That would be so cool, horror with stop motion. But yeah, this also isn't really a children's movie. For me, when I went to the cinema, there were a lot of people from 30 years to 50 years old in the audience without children there. There were only 2 children in my cinema, and they were 5 and 6 years old, I guess, around that age. Yeah, and they couldn't really follow the movie because it was English, and yeah, they speak Dutch, so I don't think they can understand what's happening in the movie. But they also didn't get scared by the overall pictures that you saw, because they weren't crying or making noise or anything. So yeah, that's another example why I don't think this will be a really scary movie for children. And I also want to say, stay for the credits. It's a really cool animated credit scenes, and it really fluently transitions to behind the scenes from how they animated the giant skeleton, and you see how it's finally looking on screen. You see the storyboards, and it is playing in fast forward, so yeah, you really can see how the animation works and everything, and it's just really cool. It's around a minute, so yeah, I would stay to see that. And also there's a cool afterword from the director Travis Knight, who's also the owner of Leica, with Film Night, who also owns Nike. And yeah, that's another reason why I urge you to go see this movie. They have paid for this movie themselves. And yeah, they have said in interviews that they really don't care that much about box office. Some movies of them make losses, but they don't really care, because they want to tell the stories that they want to tell. They don't have test screenings because they don't want to alter the stories. They just believe in their script writers, in their directors, to make a good movie. And you don't see that almost anywhere this day with the movies that come out. So I really applaud them for doing that, and I just wanted to support that. So yeah, I urge you to go see this movie. I really highly recommend this if you like stop motion. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review, and until next time.
And there is one last thing I want to talk about that I forgot to do in the main review, and that's if you want to see this movie yourself, not for your children, or if you go with your children but you still want to see this movie for yourself, then don't look at any trailers, because you will spoil yourself really without knowing it. Because after that I saw the trailer, I thought I still didn't really know what the story was about, but you will put things together a lot quicker when you see the movie. And I know I've said in the review that's predictable. That still is, even if you haven't seen the trailers, but I'm talking about other things that you will put together. And also, this is the case where a lot of the third act is even in the trailer. And there is also a music video of the song that plays in the credits of this movie. And that video even contains the very last scene, even the very last shot that you will see in this movie. So yeah, if you don't want that spoiled, then please don't watch any trailers and just go to the movie. Because if you are even a little bit interested in this movie, then you will not be disappointed, just because of how it looks and everything, and the technique behind this movie. And that's why I did go for went to see this movie. Not because of the great story, because that I really didn't care about that. but I did care about how the movie looked and how it was made, because I love stop motion so much. So yeah, that was just the last thing I wanted to say. And yeah, please go out to see this movie.